I'm about to say something that's going to make some of you disagree with me before I've even finished the sentence. Office politics isn't your problem. Your refusal and ignorance to understand it is. Now, before you click away, hear me out, because I know exactly what the phrase office politics brings to mind. You picture the colleague who takes credit for other people's work, the manager who rewards loyalty over competence, the employee who's somehow always in the right meeting despite contributing the least. You think of manipulation, favoritism, gossip, and people climbing the corporate ladder by stepping on everyone else. If that's what you mean by office politics, then I'd reject it too. But what if we've been calling two completely different things by the same name? Because if we have, then thousands of talented professionals are making one career mistake they genuinely believe is a good decision, and it's costing them promotions, influence, opportunities, and years of career growth. Let me tell you about someone you'll probably recognize. Maybe it's someone you've worked with, maybe it's you. She arrives before everyone else. Her work is consistently excellent. When projects start falling apart, people quietly turn to her because they know she'll fix them. She's reliable, respected, technically brilliant. Then promotion season arrives. The role goes to someone else, someone with less experience, someone she helped train. Her office family begins to whisper, "How could they do that to her? It's all politics." She nods and agrees. Updates her resume. She tells herself the company doesn't reward competence anymore and convinces herself to stop doing too much. But here's one question very few people ever ask. What if competence was never the only thing being evaluated? Because every workplace has two organizational charts. One is printed. It tells you who reports to who manages which department, who signs off on what, while the other one exists only in people's minds. It isn't written anywhere, but it's the one that often determines whose ideas get funded, whose mistakes get forgiven, whose name gets mentioned when opportunities appear, and whose absence is noticed when they're not in the room. Most people spend their careers paying attention to the first chart, while the people who rise tend to understand the second one, and that's where the misunderstanding begins. When people say they don't want to play office politics, I can tell that they are saying something different. They're saying they don't want to manipulate people, they don't want to gossip, they don't want to be friends with all their colleagues, they don't want to steal credit, which is all good. Neither should you. But that's not office politics. That's unethical behavior. Those are two completely different things. Confusing them is like refusing to learn how contracts work because some people commit fraud. One is a skill, the other is misconduct. Real office politics is much less dramatic. It's understanding how influence moves through an organization. It's recognizing that decisions are made by people, not flowcharts. It's knowing who needs to trust your idea before that idea becomes reality. It's realizing that every workplace develops an informal network of relationships, credibility, and influence alongside the official hierarchy. That isn't corruption. It's simply human nature. Wherever people work together, relationships shape decisions. Always have. Always will. The problem is that many intelligent professionals believe they can opt out of that reality. They can't. Ignoring office politics doesn't make you independent of it. It simply makes you invisible within it. Now, a better picture would be this. Imagine walking into a city you've never visited. You refuse to look at a map because you think maps are unfair. You refuse to ask for directions because good travelers shouldn't need help. You refuse to learn which neighborhoods connect to which roads. We all know that it's only a matter of 10 minutes before you get lost inside that city. That's exactly what happens in organizations. The social dynamics continue whether you acknowledge them or not. Trust continues to form. Reputations continue to spread. Decisions continue to happen in conversations you're not part of. The game doesn't stop because you've chosen not to learn its rules. It simply continues without your influence. And that's where many careers begin to plateau. If you genuinely care about doing meaningful work, then office politics isn't optional. It's part of the job. It's hard to acknowledge, but it's just the truth. We celebrate competence because competence feels objective, it's measurable, while office politics feels subjective and uncomfortable. So we convince ourselves that if our work is good enough, someone will eventually notice. Sometimes they do. Often they don't, because organizations don't run on spreadsheets alone. They run on human beings. Human beings with limited attention, limited information, limited time, and like it or not, they rely on relationships to navigate all three. Don't also assume the mistake of becoming more political. Political in the kind of manipulative way like I described in my last video. The only solution you should pay attention to is to become more intentional, and that's an important difference to note. Manipulation asks, how can I get people to do what benefits me? Healthy office politics asks, how do I build enough trust and credibility that people want to work with me? One exploits relationships. The other invests in them. Like I shared before, when you look closely at the people who consistently thrive inside organizations without compromising who they are, they usually aren't the loudest voices in the room. They're rarely the most charismatic. They're not constantly self-promoting. What they are is visible, trusted, and remarkably intentional. There's another misconception that holds capable people back. Many believe visibility means showing off. It doesn't. Visibility simply means reducing the gap between the value you create and the people who need to know that value exists. Those are not the same thing. If you solve a critical problem for your team, but no one outside that team knows it happened, you've created value. You just haven't created visibility. And organizations can't reward contributions they never see. That doesn't mean sending daily emails celebrating yourself. It means learning how to communicate your work in ways that help other people understand its impact. The same applies to relationships with managers. Many employees spend years waiting for their manager to notice everything they're contributing. Most managers won't. Not because they don't care, because they're overwhelmed. They're balancing deadlines, meetings, budgets, hiring decisions, performance reviews, and problems you never even see. Expecting them to naturally notice every contribution you make is like expecting someone to appreciate a painting they've never turned around to look at. Sometimes your responsibility isn't just creating the work, it's making sure the work can be seen. Organizations don't promote potential, they promote perceived readiness, and perception is shaped through repeated interactions, not annual performance reviews. This is why I believe one of the most underrated career skills isn't public speaking, technical expertise, or even leadership. It's organizational awareness, the ability to understand how information flows, how trust develops, how influence moves, and who shapes decisions. Once you develop that awareness, your career is just a step ahead to be getting seen more. Now, I know some of you are still thinking, this just isn't me. I'd rather keep my head down and let my work speak for itself. I understand. For a long time, I admired that philosophy too. The thing is, your work has never actually had a voice. It can't speak, but you can. Every presentation, every conversation, every relationship, every meeting you choose to attend or avoid, every person who leaves an interaction with a clearer understanding of who you are and how you work. That's your work speaking. Office politics isn't something separate from your job. It is part of your job. Not the dishonest version people warn you about, the human version, the part where organizations are made up of people instead of machines. And learning to navigate that reality doesn't make you less authentic. It makes you more effective. And effectiveness, when paired with integrity, is one of the most powerful combinations any professional can develop. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.